MRC YouTube channel. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:30. The first item on our agenda is our MRHS Student Report Representative, Mr. Elahel.
On the way through. Okay. Oh, some nice feedback. Okay. Hello, I'm back. Hello, from March. I'll just get right into things. It's easier to do that. On March 3rd, which I didn't even know this was happening. Oh yeah. I didn't know it was happening until I heard about it, but Massachusetts Education Secretary Pat Tutwiler visited our school. That's awesome. To talk about college opportunities, financial aid, and more with, I think, the juniors. That was on March 3rd. That was really cool to hear about. I didn't know it was happening, but that just sounds like, that's so cool. I went to DC, but like that sounds cool. Like having the, I love that type of stuff. But that's awesome to hear about. And then last time I was here, I talked about the fact that Hope Squad, which is the suicide prevention awareness group in our school, is also a national organization. But we also focus heavily on mental health, and we were planning a trip to the middle school to talk about bullying there, and I'm happy to report we did that. Went through wonderfully. I spoke for about 4 hours straight to 4 different classes. That was really fun. My voice is still a little fried from it, but it's okay. We made it through the day. It was a really great educational experience. I could tell that a lot of the kids were really kind of more interested than normal, just because like you really had like these you had high schoolers coming in talking to you about it. It really adds that layer of like, oh, this is like real stuff. This is like, this is really how it's going to be when we step up. We talked to 7th graders specifically, so like they really are coming here next year, and it was important to kind of relay that message of not only how bullying is bad, but how to show and share empathy. And then we kind of roll into something also really cool. The STEMists visited the kindergartners at HES and led chemistry experiments on March 10th. I got that right from the social media, but that's awesome. Yeah,
Nice.
It's really good stuff. I think it's obviously really important to talk about science. Science is awesome. Especially I think in the lower grade levels. You sometimes don't necessarily get to see all the really really cool stuff. Like the blowing things up, whatever, chemistry, but. You do eventually get to that, but it was good to kind of bring that down to their level and kind of show how cool science can be. So it was really great that the STEMists did that. Then we hit Mamma Mia, the spring musical. I went, it was awesome. I went the premiere night, it ran from March 11th to 15th, and it kind of just blew my mind, truly. I've been to the past few with Beauty and the Beast last year, 9 to 5 the year before, but this was on like a whole nother level. Like seriously, it was genuinely impressive. I'm so sorry if you missed it, because it was really just like a fantastic show. They did a great job, and they had to do that show so many times. But if you ever get a chance next time around to see the fall play or the spring musical next year, do it. It's worth it. It's like $10 for adults. It's literally nothing. You go in there and you get a 2-hour experience that is just magical. And then, speaking of the Hope Squad again, on March 13th, the Monomoy Regional High School Hope Squad, we went to a summit at 4 Seas with all of the other Hope Squads on Cape Cod, and we essentially just had workshops and talked to each other about things. That was my first time going. I didn't go last year, but it was just this massive collection of like 200 students, all with this very clear and obvious goal of trying to promote mental well-being in their schools. And there's so many shared ideas, events and possible ways that we can kind of spread more awareness. One of those things that we will be implementing, we did do it last year, but in kind of a smaller extent, we want to do it bigger this year, is something called Hope Week, which is like a spirit week that is mental health related, really. That's going to be happening towards the end of April and going into the first 2 days of May. But there's going to be themed days for each of those, and each will be promoting important things to be aware of, both for yourself and others. So I think it was really great. That summit, that collection was awesome, and I'm really proud to be part of Hope Squad, and I think it was awesome to kind of just be there with them all. Also on March 13th, it was a very busy day for me, but I made it work. Monomoy Rights had its March edition. I had to get that out because I had the Mamma Mia review coming out 2 days after the first show. I wrote that, so So that was a really fun experience to kind of go through that. I do that every year. But we had that come out, and so much other. That whole week was crazy. Then on March 15th, the Polar Plunge happened at, I think, Red River Beach to benefit the Massachusetts Special Olympics. The Monomoy Unified Buddies and Interact Club raised more than $600. So that's really impressive. Truly, I'm glad that Interact Club, which is what I'm a part of, we made sure that we can kind of get our way into that because we really wanted to support that, and I'm very thankful for the Best Buddies for kind of letting us in, and we together raised a lot of money, so I'm really happy to hear that. And then on March 19th, there was the All Arts Night. You probably see some art out there right now. I believe they're taking it down soon, but enjoy it while it's there. Some really beautiful, great stuff. Just always talk about the arts. That's how you see it, right there. So definitely check it out. And then on March 20th, there was the Empty Bowls Full Hearts event. That is it's a fundraiser to benefit the Family Table Collaborative on Cape Cod, where MRHS students, they design like ceramic bowls, and they kind of serve soup, and they have a little bit of like a music performance, and there's raffles, and it's kind of this huge event. I honestly did not get an update on how much they made, but I hope it was a lot, because really great cause. Then on March 22nd, Interact Club, they held a beach cleanup at Red River, so a week later from that Polar Plunge, we were there making sure there's no trash left. There wasn't. Good job. And then rather recently, on March 24th, Young Women's Club, they visited the Massachusetts State House for Women's Advocacy Day 2025, hosted by the Massachusetts Commission on the Status of Women. So they got to speak with Hadley Leddy, who is the state representative for the 4th Barnstable County District. This is something I did know about before I looked at the social media, thank God, but I did look at that. Really fantastic thing to do, though. I'm really happy they got invited to do that. The Young Women's Club has done a lot of things in the school, and it's just great to see, especially during I think Women's History Month, if I'm correct, having that type of event and really getting to kind of talk and similar to the Hope Summit, talk about things, how to spread awareness, how to make the world a better place. So that was awesome. And then we kind of launch into what's coming in the future. On April 3rd, there's the Wellness Fair, which happens every year here at the high school. It's really just to promote, again, wellness, physical wellness, mental health, all of the above. I have like 3 clubs that are doing a table, and I have to spread myself across those 3 tables, so I'm going to figure that one out. But it's a really great event. They have booths with all these information, and sometimes like candies and prizes, and it's a whole little thing. It happens usually the first 3 blocks of the day. I think it ends just before Jossum. But yeah, been doing it for quite a few years. It's been very successful. So keep coming. Then on April 4th, the GSA will have an open mic and a day of silence to protest discrimination and harassment against LGBTQ people. That's going to be a huge day. They'll be silent, but then the open mic is to kind of break the silence and to kind of, have this event to, talk. I will be attending that. I'm very excited, but that's really great to hear. Also, on April 4th, the Harlem Wizards are coming to town. Very popular event. I was a class president back in sophomore year when my class did it. It's a crazy event. Kids love it. It's brings in a lot of money, but it really is fun to watch. I love it. Ever since I've moved down here, I've heard about it, and then I experienced it. I was like, it's worth it. It's worth every cent, all the time it took, but it was worth it. Then on April 8th, the Sanskrit Club, which is the Creative Writing Club, they are taking a field trip to, I believe, Bourne High School. I'm trying to remember exactly, but pretty sure it's Bourne High School, and that's going to be another workshop. I know, it's so exciting, right? Just to talk with other creative writers and have a bit of an open mic themselves, and apparently even a poetry slam, which I signed up to do. I don't know why, but I can't do that type of stuff, but I did it. So we'll see how that goes. But I'll give you a report. Then on April 10th, there is the Pops concert. So that is, they do that every year. It's essentially like all the famous music, that isn't like classical, or good jazz music, but like even better jazz music sometimes. In the Pops concert, it's really fun. They like to play that Michael Jackson every once in a while, so definitely pop in, check that out. Then my favorite, prom, April 11th. It's coming, less than a month. I just made the appointment to rent my suit the other day, so I'm gonna figure it out. But I should have it in time. Also, I forgot to mention this. I believe on April 10th, Sanskrit is hosting another open mic at Elders Library. So that's also that day. So I'll be kind of running around with a few things there. Then on April 12th, Hope Squad is going to have a bake sale to raise money for the Suicide Awareness Walk that is held by Sharing Kindness, an organization dedicated to mental health and also suicide awareness. That will be on May 17th. So we're trying to kind of come together and raise money for that. You can also donate to our team. The link's somewhere. I can probably find it for you if you want it. But really great cause. Then April 18th, the Multicultural Fair. Another thing happens every year. Really just highlights the sheer diversity of the school. There's so much fun food and fun activities that kind of come from it, and I think it's a really important event in kind of fostering that sense of community that we have. So really beautiful event. I'm excited. April break, I'm also excited for that. Then there's Hope Week, and at the very end of Hope Week, there will be a Breakfast for a Cause, which will hopefully raise some more money for that suicide awareness walk. So we got a lot of things going on. April is going to keep me busy. So, and actually part of that is that, it's kind of like, it's also kind of full month of school. There's April break, but then like I get into May and it's like, AP tests, but it's fun. So, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Awesome, well done. We'll move into our public comment section at the moment. Do we have any speakers here for public comment? No? No? Okay. We'll move right along, and we'll move right into reports and discussions. The first item is the Cape Cod Collaborative Articles of Agreement. Hope Hanscom. Welcome.
I cannot follow Mac, is that his name?
Oh, Jason.
Jason. Why did I hear Mac? I cannot follow that, but I want to do all the things. So thanks for having me. I'll be as brief as possible. My name is Hope Hanscom. I'm the new executive director for the Cape Cod Collaborative. I started there on January 21st, and my first sort of charge was that Plymouth Public Schools had been looking to join the Cape Cod Collaborative for a while. They've been serving as an adjunct member, a non-voting member, and in order for them to begin as a full member for July 1, we needed to update the Articles of Agreement. We needed to have DESI look at the Articles of Agreement. Our Cape Cod Collaborative Board of Directors needed 2 reads of the Articles of Agreement, and then every school committee of the 19 member districts plus Plymouth needed to vote to accept those amended Articles of Agreement, and that all had to happen by April 1st. So you are my 20th school committee meeting this month, and you're my last this month.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I think Melissa said I saved the best for last. Okay, I'll go with that. But I've had an opportunity, which has been great, to go to all of the meetings and meet folks that we serve, and so I'm really actually grateful for the opportunity to, maybe I wouldn't have compressed it into 1 month, maybe 2, but it's been a really great opportunity. What is in front of you tonight are the amended Articles of Agreement, and the only substantive change is adding Plymouth as a full voting member. The additional changes from DESI are anything that changed in statute or regulations since the last time the articles were opened, which was 2015. And the only real thing that they had us change for that was to take out the adjunct membership option, which is no longer a viable option under statute. But otherwise, it's just adding Plymouth. And I'm just saying this because I will probably be back in a year or a year and a half after we do strategic planning to open the articles again. So I don't want you to be like, why didn't you do this all at once? But I think there are things we're going to need to change and adjust. We're going to want to, so that we can grow the collaborative and grow the services that we provide. But for now, it's really just about Plymouth. So that's, I'll take any questions if there are any.
If I could just make, I don't have a question, but I just want to make a statement about it. I've just joined as a board member over the last couple months, the Cape Cod Collaborative, and I'm been very impressed with the services that Cape Cod Collaborative offers, the commitment of the other board members throughout all the different school systems, and mostly I've been impressed with Hope's infectious enthusiasm. So I just feel so that we just have a person of her caliber overseeing the entire Cape Cod Collaborative right now. I think we can all feel it's in great hands.
Thanks, that's even nicer than Jason's report. So thank you. No, I'm
This was
lucky.
better, I'm sorry.
I have a great job that I can't believe I get to do, and I'm so grateful for it. I worked for Mashpee Public Schools for the past 8 years, so I've been a member, part of the collaborative, but getting to lead it and really seeing the potential of how we can grow, with Melissa, with Scott, with Robin, with the team here, I'm so excited. So thanks, Brad.
Any other questions? We have a motion.
I will, Madam Chair, I'll make the motion that we admit, that Monomoy Regional School System votes to admit Plymouth schools to the Cape Cod Collaborative.
I'll second.
Any questions on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes.
Do you mind?
Absolutely.
These line signatures, and I have to mail them.
Okay, we can do that.
Like the Pony Express from Little House on the Prairie, to get them to Nessie on time, so.
Thank you.
Enjoy your meeting.
Thank you. Thank you
Nice
for coming.
You too.
The next item is the fiscal year 26 budget vote and conversation with the Harwich Select Board.
Good evening, school committee. Mike McMillan, the school business manager. So off the press, we have some revisions.
Hey, Michael.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
So I don't know what order you want to do, as in, take us in. First.
I'll start, sure, if you don't mind.
Meantime, I can.
Thank you.
Not even sure where we're going to go with this, but to follow Jason and Hope is going to be no easy task. Madam Chair, members of the committee, thank you for having me. I'm Jeff Handler. I'm the chair of the Harwich Select Board. And Madam Chair, with your permission, may I address the committee for a couple of quick housekeeping things? Sure. If you don't mind. Thank you. The first thing I want to do is acknowledge and say thank you to your entire committee. You all do something that I consider to be extraordinary. You're volunteers, you give your time, you give your energy, you give your knowledge, and you really do create something special for both towns. And it doesn't go unnoticed, and it does not get taken for granted by our select board, and I'm sure I could speak for the Chatham Select Board as well. So that's the first thing I wanted to say, is just a sincere thank you from the Harwich Select Board. The second thing I'd like to do is, it got brought to my attention through a couple of conversations that maybe, or definitely, some or all of this incredible school committee may feel either disrespected, unheard, invisible, and I'm here to apologize for that. I'll be the first one to tell you that I sincerely apologize to all who have ever felt that way. I mean, I know we can all feel that way a little bit in different environments in our lives, but what I will promise to this committee, and all committees for that matter, is while I'm part of the Harwich Select Board, you will always have an open door policy with me, an open phone policy. I don't even know if that exists. I might have just made it up, but it sounds good. I will be accessible and attainable to all of you, and I'll do a better job of communicating things that are important for the school committee to know before you hear it from someone else. So that's the second thing I'd like to just bring the attention to. The third thing is, I would like to formally invite administration, Mr. Carpenter and Mr. McMillan, as well as the school committee members, whoever can attend, to our April 8th, we're calling it, we haven't posted it yet, but we're calling it the Monomoy Regional School District Stakeholders Meeting. And that is going to be with 2 Chatham Select Board members, 2 Harwich Select Board members, myself and Select Board member Pikarski. We're going to have town administrator, we're going to have town manager, we're going to have finance, and now I'd like to formally invite all who can be there. I know it's from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock on a, I don't even know what April 8th is, I think it's a Tuesday. It's a Tuesday. I know it's hard, but this is the formal invitation for all of you who can make it to be there, to answer any questions that we may have while we're going through our exercise, and obviously hear things firsthand, because I know watching YouTube is definitely not one of my favorite things to do. So with that, Madam Chair, I'll turn the floor back over to you. I am your guest, so I'm here to answer questions. I'm here to be part of the conversation and participate, and I will hand it over to you.
Thank you very much.
And thank you very much.
Much appreciated.
Of course.
Can we hear the update from the Finance Subcommittee?
Sure. So we met prior to this meeting, and the administration including the principals, have worked diligently over the last 4 days to really dig deep into our budget, and we were able to reduce our budget by taking things out of the budget that hopefully in the future will come back to our budget, but for now, we feel comfortable with what we're going to present tonight. Anything else?
I would also invite the school committee, if anybody has questions for Chair Handler while he's here. I think this is a good time to ask those questions.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks for coming. And thanks for your letter to us. Obviously, there's issues and questions with our budget. Do you have a specific number or percent that you guys are looking for reduction, for you to be in favor of?
Thank you, Ryan. And back, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, I read a letter from Select Board Member Kavanaugh, who had mentioned 0.5% to a percent. What's difficult about this situation right now is I can't speak for my board. I can only reiterate what my board has said, and then maybe give you some of my own personal feelings that's not representative of what the entire board thinks, because sometimes I don't know what they're thinking, and I'll be the first one to say that. And that's why there's 5 of us up there, and we can deliberate in real time. So I would say that 1%, 0.5% to 1% would be what we have asked for to be a beginning point. But again, I don't want to speak for anybody else on the board. I hope that answered that.
Yeah, thank you.
Jeff, thanks, excuse me, thanks so much for coming tonight. And again, we're all one community trying to do the best thing for the kids, because that's, in the end, that's all what it's about, and doing the right fiscal thing for the towns. But three questions. Don't expect long answers on this, but the first is, can we talk a little bit, you mentioned the other night, right at the beginning of the Select Board meeting, about the potential financial crisis, not the crisis now, but the potential financial crisis in the future for Harwich, and just wondering, where do you know, what are the different pressures that you're seeing?
Sure.
As you go forward now into the future?
You want me to do them one at a time, I hope?
Yes, sir. Then I have 2 other questions.
Excellent. I do want to make it really clear. Harwich is in no crisis financially. But it would be irresponsible for our board to look at the numbers coming in from wastewater and the borrowing that we're going to have to do over the next 3 to 5 to 10 years. Hundreds of millions of dollars coming down the pipe for our little town of Harwich. Obviously, this school budget is of significant concern, and I just want to make it clear, and I know you asked me for short answers. I'm not sure I can do that, but I'm going to do my best. You know, it may appear on the surface that what you're hearing from the Select Board is the views of the Select Board. And clearly, we have our own opinions of this budget. We have our own opinions of the wastewater, the CWMP and the watershed permitting. But it's also, and we can't miss this fact, these are the voters talking to us. They're the ones who are going to vote your budget. And I acknowledge, and my board acknowledges, we have no authority over your budget. We are either going to support your budget or not support your budget. My preference would be for us to support your budget along with FinCom, because that lends to the credibility and the security to the voters. But what you hear coming from the five of us is exactly what we're hearing from our residents. And now, back to your question. The wastewater, the school budget, the Monomoy Regional Middle School assessment be the single largest project that we have in the town of Harwich in fiscal year '26. So it would be irresponsible for us to not look at every single dollar that's spent by our town and who's asking for that money. Every dollar that we spend on this school budget is money that we don't have to run the operational aspect of our town. And I'll paint you a quick picture. Back in FY11, since FY11, Harwich has spent roughly $69 million cumulatively above and beyond the school budget of FY11. That's over the years, 14 years, we've spent cumulatively $69 million. Conversely, Chatham has saved almost $16 million over the last 14 years. So I'd ask yourselves to think about that, because that's what our voters are thinking about. And how does it sit? How does it feel? How is it sustainable? It is unsustainable for us as a small little town of Harwich to keep going on this trajectory. So those are the things that are giving us pause to think long and hard about not this one budget, because I view this budget as just part of a bigger problem, the bigger problem being the regional assessment formula. And I would say that the only opportunity we have today is to discuss this budget because it's in play. We would love to see a reopening of the regional funding arrangement, so that this doesn't have to happen again. Because I think if this moves forward this year, next year, if it goes up another 3 to 6%, it's going to be even a harder year. So I hope I answered.
You did, which leads me to my second question,
Awesome.
which is the regional assessment, as luck would have it.
Sure.
And it may be too premature to talk about it right now, and just kind of ask
what I
you,
can.
you may want to save it, for the meeting in a couple of weeks, but since you're here, I'm just wondering what is either yourself or the board's feeling in terms of what you're thinking about proposing for the assessment going forward, if it were to be changed.
Okay, great question. And we do not have any preconceived notions or ideas of what we're going in for. I am thrilled that Mr. Schell, Chairman Schell, was very willing to have this conversation. And as I said to Tina the other night, the more we have conversation, the more we communicate, the better chance we have of succeeding as partners and community members. So I do not have an answer for you of what we're going to propose. This is our first meeting, and we're going to see how it goes. And hopefully there's a second meeting.
And that's very fair. And my final question is just in terms of the budgeting process. Obviously, we're dealing with two different towns. My first year here, and I just commend the school committee and the principals for really the very thoughtful planning they did and proposals for the budget and the vetting that everybody did and very committed and earnest. Again, you're dealing with two different towns, two different timetables. At the same time, what is the best way to proceed, next year in the future so that budget issues can be talked earlier in the process versus what I would say is the 11th hour?
Yeah, I have, I believe, good answers for those couple of questions. I think the first, and Tina and I spoke about this, and I made it very clear at our select board meeting when Meredith attended and spoke. I don't know if I'm going to be the chair after our reorganization, but I'd love to be the liaison, because I would love to continue this communication. I'd love to be able to show up to these meetings. I would love for your budget building meetings to be televised. I went back to look for them. I couldn't find them. Did I miss them? because I couldn't find them, and I think that would have been a huge help for me, to be able to go back and watch how you all were preparing for your budget. But communication, this is a show-up job. We have to show up. You all show up, I show up, we're going to communicate, we're going to have a better dialogue going forward, so we're not doing this at the 11th hour. I would also add that it feels like there are 3 budgets that are being built at this point in time. The first budget would be this budget here. The second budget would be the Harwich operational budget. And the third budget would be Chatham's town operational budget. It feels to Harwich like Chatham is developing their budget and the Monomoy regional budget. And Harwich is doing nothing more than reacting. We don't feel like we're partners. We don't feel like we have a partner. We feel like we have a town who's got, 26% of the kids. We've got 80 or 70-something, maybe 80 by next year. It's like we have our own school district already. We have 80% of the kids almost. We need to sit with Chatham. We need to have conversations with Chatham, independent of these conversations, so they can understand what financial responsibilities we have in our town. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, again, thank you for your responses, thank you for your participation.
And thank you for asking.
Today.
Thank you for being part of this committee as well.
And then I have a couple follow-ups on that. And
Sure.
thank you for all the information. I watched the meeting Monday night. I think we've talked in the past, it was months ago, we were talking about the liaison role here with the select boards, and I do feel that we need to have more of a presence at the meetings, not every week, but maybe once a month or once a quarter, because there is no communication. And I think it is really important to build those relationships on both towns so that our liaisons are able to keep the boards up to speed. Even if it's just a 5-minute check-in, I think the regular communication would be very helpful. I also think that having the same goal would be very helpful, and it goes back to Ryan's question about what's the number. And I hear what you're saying, there's a lot of balls in the air, you guys are trying to figure out where everything is going to land. But we can't meet what you're asking if we don't know what you're asking. And I appreciate everybody's hard work to get this new number out, 1,000,000%. And I don't know if it's going to be enough for the select board, and we understand that. But I just think going forward, in that meeting, one of your colleagues had said, well, we asked for this 6 weeks ago, but we're still waiting for the number that will work. So again, it might just be more communication, more conversations. We want to work together, but we can't meet your goal if we don't know what it is. And that's hard.
So the beauty of a 5-person board, or the challenge of a 5-person board, is everybody brings their own ideas to the table. And that's what makes it fabulous, in my opinion. That's what makes it work. I can't answer the question, will it be enough for all of our board, right? I can't tell you whether or not it's going to be enough for the voters.
Right.
I can only say that collectively, what the board agrees upon is that it is not our responsibility to manage, micromanage, or dive into your budget. And I'm going to go back to something you said right off the bat, because, Madam Chair, I think it's without question the most important thing that's been said here so far, other than what Jason brought to the table. That was phenomenal. I would say that you're 100% right, and I'm on board with, and I respect what you said about the fact that we all need to have the same goal. And I believe we do. I believe we all have the same goal. A phenomenal place for our kids to develop and grow and learn. And I think, unequivocally, I can say that you do that here. There's no question. I have 2 kids in the system. I have a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old. God bless me. And I don't want them to go anywhere else. And I want them to grow up and go through this school system. But we can't do your budget for you, given the, let me back that one, let me walk that one back. We're not responsible for micromanaging or giving you the direction of where you should or shouldn't spend your money. But I think going forward next year, if we have more regular conversation, and I'm here more as a liaison, those questions will be answered in real time as we go. versus right now, I understand and respect, this is a very hard position for you all to be in, not understanding what we're looking for.
And it's not that we want you to do it for us, we just need to know what the number is to get to.
Let's get 1%.
Okay.
That's what we've said that multiple times. A 0.5% to 1%.
One person did, and at the meeting, you said we can't speak for everybody, and just one person had put that number out. So I guess I'm looking for a collective conversation that came together and said, okay, we all agree that's a good.
So, and that's a great point. And as chair of the select board, I sit and listen to what's not said as much as I listen to what is said. And when the 0.5 point to a point came forward, there was no, well, wait a minute, a point's not going to do it for me. I need 3 points, I need 4 points, I need 5, whatever it may be. So I didn't hear opposition to a 0.5 point to a point, or 0.5% to a
And I
percent.
guess I was looking for the, okay, I agree to that. So I guess we were looking for the two different things.
Understood.
And I totally get it.
I totally get it. And that's, again, back to the communication.
Yep.
So I hope that helped.
That's, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Anybody else? Jackie?
Hi, Jackie.
Hi, Jeff, how are you?
Fantastic, good to see you again.
Here every other Thursday.
Oh, I know, thank you for all you do. And I hope you're spending all the money you make on this committee.
I am, yes, nope. So a couple things, and I hope I can bring it all full circle
Sure.
and articulate everything.
Please.
There's so much information. I've been able to attend 2 of your most recent select meetings and then listen to the last one twice, because when I commute to Hyannis, this is what I do. I listen to YouTube meetings. It's great entertainment. So I've been able to collect a lot of information. I think one of the largest issues that we continue to have as a district is that the 2 towns are not coming together regarding the assessment, because I think at the end of the day, we are having these last-minute conversations about the budget. A lot has to do with the fact that the 2 boards are not addressing the elephant in the room. And I think that much like it's not your purview to tell us what to put in our budget, it's not in our purview to set up the assessment agreement between the 2 towns. And we have voiced, prior to you actually even being a selectman, Jeff, we have voiced this to the 2 towns multiple times. We have orchestrated meetings, we have orchestrated being a liaison, we've done everything possible to make it happen, but ultimately it falls to the 2 town select boards. I don't care who goes to who first, but that's where it comes from. It is, I think for me, the hardest part about this budget season has been having countless meetings for the school committee where we go over item by item when we're hiring, when we have to, develop a program, when we have crisis, how to balance that and to vote things in with a lot of information goes into those. Much like you guys get at your boards. You get someone and they come and they present something and then you have to think about it and process and ask the questions and investigate and get the data, and we do all that work. And I've been on the board for almost 10 years now, and I cannot tell you that we've ever come with a frivolous budget to the town, ever. And I think you would agree, there's nothing in our budgets that is unnecessary or unwarranted. We don't do anything that's out of the ordinary here in our district, but I do think our district is extraordinary for the things that we do. And I think you respect us for the role we play, because that's our role as the school committee, to make those decisions that are in the best interest of the students and of the staff and of the administration. So when we get to a point now where we're having to take what's a very responsible budget, but now we have to cut items on our budget to get Harwich to where they're in a comfortable position, it's unfortunate. It ends up being unfortunate for the staff, for the administration, and for the students, and I'm sure it's not what the town of Harwich wants either, but we find ourselves yet again, another year, in what I'm going to call the assessment crisis, not a financial crisis, it's the assessment crisis. And yet, it impacts our budget every year. And that's unfortunate for the community, that it's been carried out this long and not addressed. So, I really, 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 if Harwich has to be the initiator of it, please be the initiator of it. If it's this important to the town of Harwich to get fiscally what you guys need under control, please be the initiator to get to Chatham to start making the agreement. And then from there, I feel like we can continue to budget the way we have been and responsibly the way we have been. And then we will all be in a better place. But it just seems like we're banging our heads against the wall about things that we can't control. Couple things about the operating budget. I just wanted to, just for the public's sake, I know in the last meeting there was mention of the operating budget for the town of Harwich versus the operating budget of the Monomoy Regional School District. And I do want to point out that the operating budget for the town of Harwich does not include fixed and semi-fixed costs, retirement, health benefits, OPEB trust funds, property and liability insurance, unemployment, but the Monomoy Regional School District operating does. So it's kind of comparing apples to oranges when you're comparing the operating budget of the town of Harwich to the operating budget of Monomoy Regional School District. So that's kind of, I just want to make sure the public understands that. Those numbers are different, vastly different for the way the town has set up, and Chatham does the same, and the way the district's operating budget is set up. We can't pull those numbers out. They're all within one operating budget. And then my other suggestion, and I know you talked about, a couple people at the meeting talked about transparency, and I know our friend Charles, who likes to show up to all our meetings, we have recently, probably in the last 5 years, we started doing the budget forum, which I think people find really helpful. They are televised, they're recorded, and I completely, oh, they're not recorded? Sorry, excuse me, they're televised.
No.
No, they're not either?
No.
I thought it was public.
Budget workshop.
Oh, the budget workshop.
Workshop's not.
Right, the workshop, okay. So for those would be important meetings. If there was one meeting a year as a select board liaison I would attend, it would be that one, because the principals come with the needs and the wants, and it does, for me, it really encaptures everything we're doing or everything we've done over the year and what we want to move forward. And everyone asks very good questions. I completely understand that as a select board member, you have a full-time job, all of you guys have other things in life, much like we do. You can't be at every meeting for everything, and I completely understand that. And I also think that's why it's important that once the select board decides what they need from us each year, that we report that out to you in a timely manner once a month, if that's what you need. And then my last would be, I know for the town of Chatham in the beginning of budget season, I know Scott and Michael meet with the town administrator for what they have earmarked for the year, so we know where to start. We know what they're looking at and what their budget looks like. I just find, I'm not quite sure why, and I can't speak to it, I don't know why Harwich is so much farther behind in putting warrants on and accepting budgets than Chatham. I can't speak to that, I don't know why, it's just an observation. But when they earmark how much they have in the budget, that only helps us move forward with our budget knowingly with what you're anticipating. Because if the town of Harwich isn't setting a budget, anticipating what they can afford, we're driving blind. And so is the town of Harwich. So I know that some of your union agreements at our last meeting were not complete yet.
We're 0 for 8 right now.
You're 0 for 8, okay. There, now you're done.
No, we're not done, we're 0 for 8.
Oh, excuse me, you're 0 for 8.
Yeah.
Great, keep working. Don't know why that's still going on.
Not for you to know why it's still going on, to be quite honest with you. And
That's what I said, I don't know why it's still going on.
And that's, I don't want to cut you off.
No,
before
negotiations are negotiations, I
Sure.
don't, whatever it is.
Can I address some of these?
You can address
Madam
all of
Chair,
those.
Through you, if you don't mind. Okay. The low-hanging fruit. Harwich is fiscally under control. You had mentioned that Harwich needs to get fiscally in control. We are in control.
I don't think I said that.
You did. We can look back at it. I wrote it down when you said it. And I don't want to go back and forth on points, but Chatham and Harwich are two very different towns. Harwich is about $148,000 shy of our levy limit. Chatham is about $4 million under their levy limit. So when you compare apples to oranges, and you ask why Harwich is so far behind, which we're not, we're way ahead of where we were last year, but there are three very big issues on our table that has, most of our warrant was done a month ago. We're really grinding over three things. And those three things are 35 million, 31.5 million, and almost 9 million. Those deserve our attention. Those don't deserve to be rushed. We're two very, very different towns. Chatham has a 1.8 median home price. Harwich is 1.1. I mean, we cracked $1 million, but there's a disparity between the two towns. I have to ask you, Jackie, if you don't mind, to just clarify the OPEB, the insurance, what were you saying there, just so I understand it?
So the operating budget at the last meeting was compared to our operating budget. So the operating budget for the Monomoy Regional School District, what it includes, and what the operating budget of the town of Harwich includes.
So you're saying we don't pay OPEB in our operating budget?
I'm saying it's not part of your operating budget.
It absolutely is. We have to fund it.
So, excuse me, the department.
It's one bucket, right? I mean,
I think we've had this conversation over and over every year when Harwich tries to compare our operating budget to their operating budget. Let's focus on the biggest thing, health insurance. Take that out.
But
I'm just saying it's not
we pay
fair
health-
to the public
we
in a
pay health-
public session
Yeah.
to say that, to compare the two because they're apples and oranges. Not everything in your operating budget is in our operating budget and vice versa. That's simply it. It's not an argument, it is what it is.
I would agree in
We're all
principle.
paying the same thing in some way.
I would agree in principle that we don't have certain line items, right? We don't have a transportation line item, right? But for the big ones, health insurance, OPEB, post-employment benefits, all of those, we're responsible for those in our budget as well. So I would have to push back a little and reject that, but again, we don't have to go down that road tonight. I will say that you also mentioned that Harwich should step up and initiate conversation about the funding formula with Chatham. I just invited you all to an April 8th meeting to do just that. So we have reached out. Day one, when I became the chair, day one, I reached across the border, so to speak, and I requested a meeting. So I couldn't have done it any faster. I don't know why, to your point, I don't know why it hasn't been done before a month and a half ago. And Select Board Member Shell, the chair, Michael Shell over there, was so gracious, and it was a great conversation. So it is initiated.
Good.
And I will agree with you 100% that the big issue is the funding formula. That is what's compressing our entire operating budget in the town of Harwich, right? So if we have a partner in our neighbor who will have thoughtful and honest conversation and understand that this is all for the kids, but at the end of the day, if we can't sustain, there's a lot of instability in this because Harwich only sees it going this way. And there's I would call it a tremendous imbalance. There's an $85 million delta over the last 14 years. Chatham saved $15 million, Harwich has spent $69. It can't continue along this trajectory. And it's not about only this year's school budget at all.
Correct.
And I want to make that abundantly clear. I know there's no frivolous spending. I know that. My board knows that. I think the town of Harwich knows that. But at the end of the day, if it's unsustainable, and if we're looking at a 3 to 5% increase every year, and it goes from 77 to 79 to 81 to 84, at what point does the town of Harwich and the voters say, stop, and look for another alternative? Because it's unsustainable. And lastly, I'll say, and I agree with you on this point, there are so many non-negotiables. Healthcare has gone through the roof, not just for you, but for us. We budgeted, I think, at a 14% increase. Thank goodness it came in, I believe, at 7 or 8. I mean, it was, I think you all had the same, right? You budget high, because you just don't know what's going to happen. But it came down lower, which is great. So there were adjustments to your budget because of that, adjustments to our budget because of that. Transportation is probably another what you would call, or I would call for you, a non-negotiable. It goes up. You can't go bang on the door of the bus and say, hey, lower your price. I understand that. Same thing with the town's operating budget, right? There are non-negotiables. We all have to work together as a community, as two communities. And that's my plea, is if we're going to do something, let's do it before we're off the cliff. And changes that are radical need to be made. And we don't want that. So back to the very first question of financial crisis. We're not in one. But we're obviously looking to not get ourselves in one. So, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Jeff. And I just wanted to reiterate that I was just reiterating that you guys said you were not in a financial crisis, and I understand
Thank you.
that.
Thank you.
And I also wanted to say, not to end on a bad note, I just want to say that I think that everyone here is in line, that I am a representative of the students and the taxpayers for both towns, voted by the town of Chatham. So I'm relaying information from a lot of people, so that it's not just me, I just am the representative, but I also I've been on the committee long enough to see how things have rolled out, and it's distressing every year when we get to this process, and this is the first year that we've had a crunch like this, so I don't know where it fell through, because we can't be more transparent than we have been over the past years. Past select board members may or may not have been more involved in the beginning to end of the budget, not telling us what needed to be budget, but more communicative about what they're looking for and what they need. But again, nothing's going down in anything we do, right? Everything's going up. Inflation, everything's going to continue to cost more. So we're going to continue to have the same problem, which is why we continue to have the same conversation every year about the assessment. So I think that we're all in agreement that we're thrilled, we're aware of the meeting, we've already been invited to the meeting previously to tonight, so thank you very much as well for the invitation from Harwich. And there's a couple of us that will be joining from each town. It will be nice to hear both boards get together. I have no idea what happened between when you first reached out and you were chair and what happened with the rest of the year, and maybe not having an opportunity to reach back out, or Mr. Sheldon reach back out.
I've been chair for 4 weeks. I've been chair for 4 weeks.
Oh.
So.
You said you reached out the beginning?
3 weeks and 6 days ago, I reached out.
Well, look how much you've accomplished since then. Look at you go! April 8th, you're getting it on the books, Jeff.
Give me, yeah. Sure.
God bless you for picking that up.
Thank you. Everyone says I take my time.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
That's me.
I hope you're back again next year.
Me too. Thank
and we
you.
would certainly enjoy you to be a liaison, especially being a parent of children in the district.
100%.
It's really important to understand it from all aspects. So
No question about it. Thank you for everything you do.
Any other?
I have a couple. Well, first of all, thank you.
No, you're welcome.
Because I had written down in my 6.5 years on the school committee, other than select board members coming to our budget hearing, which is mid-February, this is the only appearance I've ever seen, and I want to appreciate that you're here tonight, that I just really appreciate it, Jeff. You've taken time, and you also were here, what, 2-3 a month ago?
Yeah,
for the middle school?
Yes.
So I just want to thank you for that, because I was sitting here tonight, and the only time I think I've ever, in my 6.5 years, seen anybody from our select board is at our budget hearing.
Thank you for saying that.
So I just want to say that.
Thank you.
And I really, really appreciate it.
Much appreciated.
Yeah. And I want to I'm going to put something on your radar, if I may.
Should I
And
sit down for this, Tina?
one school committee member saying this.
Yeah?
Betty said, about our common goal. When I was the chair back in 2021, I think, I'm trying to remember, I put kind of a wild idea out in the universe, and it was based on something that Chatham has done, Chatham has Chatham 365. I would like very much to see a Monomoy 365, because when Julie Kavanaugh spoke on Monday night about housing and jobs and why are our young families leaving, we need to have a conversation not just about the regional agreement, but together as two towns, how do we keep our young families here? How can we work together on the housing crisis, on keeping our young people here working? And that's something I think both towns and Monomoy, I'm calling it Monomoy 365, we can call it whatever we want. But I just want to put that on your radar, because that's a wild thing I put out in 2021. I would very much like to see us have conversations about that. Because why is the enrollment dropping? Because our young families are leaving. They can't afford to live here. So I'm just going to put that on your radar. I'll be following up. We'll have some talks about that.
We'll probably have it in play tomorrow.
Good.
Okay?
Based
Thank
on
you.
the 4-week turnover,
Yes.
I don't doubt it.
That's a great idea.
Yes.
And I think, like, collaborative, community, we can do this.
Good.
We can do this if we work together.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. And I think that's it. That's all. And the other thing I just want to remind the public, Monomoy is the biggest employer. If you're looking at employment, this school district employs more people in both towns. We are the #1 employer. So I just want to say that because a lot of our community members work in the district. So we're all very passionate, like we are with our police officers and our fire department, everybody else. We want people to be able to work here and live here. So I just wanted to say that also.
Thank you, Tina.
Thank you.
I appreciate you,
And thank you for being here.
of course. I'm an easy invite. Just tell me when to come.
Okay, good.
Any other questions?
Oh,
I'm just thinking, not a question, but I'm just wondering, I believe Mr. McMillan could break down our new budget scenario that I'm sure that you are interested in. So if you want to hang out and,
oh, I'm hanging out,
and
and I'm just a little interested.
just a little.
He's got the
So-
coffee.
Yeah. Anybody?
Thank you, Jeff.
Anybody
Of
else?
course.
Are we all good with questions? Anybody? Thank you, Jeff.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Where should I sit, Michael? Will I sit, are you going to do anything up there?
No, I'm just going
That's
to stand here.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
You have an extra one?
All right.
Oh, there they are.
Oh, okay, good.
So sometime ago, I introduced myself, just in case you've forgotten. It's Michael McMillan, a school business manager. So just prior to this meeting, we had a meeting of the school committee's finance subcommittee, at which we presented this new draft of the budget, which includes a $400,418 reduction on the previous budget. And that's a 0.86% reduction on what we had previously presented. So the increase is now a 5.87% increase instead of the 6.73% that had been previously approved by the school committee. So in order to achieve this reduction, we started with the budget priorities list, which you had seen in previous drafts of the budget. And from that, we kept some items which are listed in that little table in the bottom left-hand corner, the biggest being the math curriculum, well, not the biggest, but the biggest non-staffing item being the math curriculum. And then there were some staffing needs that we'd added, and a couple of smaller projects at the high school that we hope to be able to continue to run that are very effective. And then, so everything else on the list, which is now included on the right, has been cut from the budget, from this draft of the budget. And there are also some additional items there in order to get to this $400,418 reduction. I mean, so I've listed the item, which school, so that's one of the things where the way the assessment is calculated now, something that's cut from Harwich Elementary School only affects Harwich's assessment. Likewise, something from Chatham Elementary School only affects Chatham's assessment. And then what cuts at the middle school and the high school in the district, that's then split out based on the foundation enrollment. So that's why you see that the impact on the two assessments is not exactly the same. It's not a 0.88%, 0.86 reduction in the assessments. They're slightly different depending on where those priorities were planned originally. So you have the item on the left, and then the school and the cost, and then I put here what our impact contingency would be. Some of those things will just be cancelled. I mean, for some of the items, particularly the smaller items, we'll try and find alternative funds, alternative grants. We'll look for those. I mean, really, you could put that in any of these items. We're always looking for grants, particularly around the professional development. We will look to see if there's other grants available that we can draw on, which we would have done anyway, and they would have funded other things. Instead, they would fund these things. So that's how we kind of got to this list. We started with a list, but then we also worked with our principals. I mean, it's only been a few days, and they also have busy days, so they have tried to give us some time to go through their budgets and identify alternative things to cut. That's why we have a few things at the bottom of the list to help keep the math curriculum in particular. And so that's how we got to our $400,000, and that's the impact that has. So that brings Harwich's assessment down to a 4.23% increase. That's 1.04% less than the previous draft of the budget had, which was over 5%. And it brings Chatham's assessment down 0.88%. It was over 8% previously. So that's what was presented to the Finance Committee this evening, and they voted in favour of this budget. That's part of the assessment. That's part of the regional agreement process as it goes to the Finance Committee for them to vote on it first before it comes to the School Committee. So it's now been approved by them, so it's now in front of you, School Committee, to review.
Thank you, Michael. Does anyone have any questions?
May I, in time, if I could go back and ask one?
Of course.
Whenever the time is right.
I was just gonna see if
Let's come back.
Jeff had any questions. This would be the time.
Don't go far, Michael.
All right, just be careful with you behind me. All right. I believe I heard, and thank you for this. Thank you for the work, and thank you for the time spent. I think I heard that some items were going to be removed for this year, but then hopefully added back in next year. Did I hear that right in the very beginning? No. Okay, so these are, yeah.
If you want to.
No, go ahead, of course, yeah.
That's a good idea.
So our budget so some of these continue to be needs. So next year when we come to put the budget together, these will be on our priority list. Do they make it into the cut? Do they not? It depends on what else is out there, what other pressures on our budget, where health insurance is at, where staffing is at, where enrollment is. So, we do an almost zero-based budget every year. We start from scratch, we look at everything we need. One of the things we'll look at is our priority list, which we will work with the principals and leadership team on. And what we do is we start with the existing priority list. Some of those things will still be on it. So, doesn't just get added back because it now has to, we don't just put everything we can think of in the budget. Everything has to be weighed against everything else. So, these stay on the priority list. That's as much as I can say. We've got a few months yet before we have to start working on FY27 budget.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mike, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Just to clarify, Michael, there are two items on here that say final year, though.
Oh, yeah.
So they will be the final year of those two items?
Yep.
Yes.
Or it would have been?
Yes. Yeah. Those are, so when we work, so we have some professional development which has been multi-year, and we're now in the final year of it. That's all.
Madam Chair, if I could just ask, because 4 of us are on the Finance Subcommittee, for those of you that aren't, I think this is probably the first time you're seeing this, and I just want to make sure that you're looking at all these things, and do you have questions? Are you comfortable with it? So I just want to make sure we were aware of that, too.
Because we pulled out some
Right.
items and we're like,
Yeah, we
what's
did.
this? Remind me of what this is.
Rolled up our sleeves and really
Yeah.
kind of, pick this apart. So, but for the rest of you, for the other remaining 4, yeah. Yeah.
Any other questions?
May I make a motion?
Yes.
I would like to make a motion to approve the reduction in our budget by $400,000 $1,418 at a 0.86% reduction.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? So the motion passes. Thank you, everybody, for all your hard work.
So normally, do you want to, Madam Chair?
Do we need to read the
We
motion?
previously did two motions, one for the budget and one for the assessment. The only reason I say that is because the assessments don't necessarily flow from that budget, so I wonder if it would be
Okay, so that
sensible
was
to
the budget vote. Yep.
have a budget and an assessment vote.
Okay.
Sorry to drag on.
Okay,
Do you
so
want to
we-
withdraw, or do you want to?
No, I think a budget, so
Yeah, that was-
the budget, we had a budget vote and an assessment
now
vote
we
last
didn't
month.
give it
So
total
So do we
for the budget
have a
now.
motion for the assessment?
Okay.
That's-
So are we working, okay, do you want to make it as the finance chair, or do you want, or do you want to make?
You can do it.
Okay, so based on the assessment, and I'm working with these numbers, okay?
Yeah.
Hopefully I'm going to say them correctly. All right, so I would like to make a motion that in our revised budget, we'll present Harwich with an assessment of $31,142,031. I said that correctly. And then a Chatham assessment, it will reduce that to $11,118, and, well, 118 and 811. God, those numbers, 811.
It's a lot of ones and eights.
Thank you. So that's my motion.
We have a
with these two
second.
Second.
assessments.
Meredith, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Michael. Next on our reports and discussions is participation in school choice program for fiscal year '26.
Do you want me to just go?
Thank you.
Have a great night.
So, school choice in Massachusetts requires the school committee each year to vote to continue or to be part of the school choice program where you accept students into your school district, or to not be part of the school choice program. So we have, as long as I've been here, been part of the school choice program, accepting students into our district. Should a school committee vote to not be part of a school choice program, it doesn't mean that the students that have school choiced here already have to leave. They are entitled under law to stay until they graduate, but it really just says that the district is going to be open to school choice. It's not saying what grade levels or buildings that we have space in. We won't know that, and really until kindergarten enrollment happens. So generally speaking, the bulk of families come in at that kindergarten time. So my recommendation is that the committee vote, as they have in past years, to be part of the school choice program, and we will go ultimately determine where we have free seats in our different buildings to go and get our classes close to that 18 at the elementary level, 19 at the middle school and high school level, based on free seats that we have available.
Does anyone have any questions? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve participation in school choice program for FY26.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Awesome. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed or abstain? Okay, motion passes. Next is the approval of new student activities account, class of 2030. Is that Michael?
Yeah, I thought you started.
Leah's not here to poke me.
The student activities
okay.
account 2030.
Sorry, thank you very much, my apologies. That's me, once I'm done the budget, I'm like, that's me, I'm done. I'm off this. So we have two new student activity accounts requested here from the high school, one for the class of 2030 and one for Hope Squad. There's a paper in your packet that describes what the purpose, use and intention of these activity accounts are. So student activity accounts are really student funds for specific activities that the district looks after. And they're requesting us to add these two funds. So any questions, comments?
I just have a quick, I'm not going to ask it, never mind.
You sure?
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions? Jackie?
Motion to approve the request for a new student activity account for the class of 2030.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? That one passes. And then do we have a motion for the Hope Squad account?
I'll make a motion to approve the request for a new student activity account for the Monomoy Regional High School Hope Squad.
Second.
Thank you.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? That passes
Thank you very much.
unanimously.
Thank you.
Moving into subcommittee representative and liaison reports, we have the MRMS Restoration Project update.
It's all you.
So we met Tuesday evening as the middle school building restoration committee. The conversation is largely focused on the siding that would be going up on the middle school as part of the project. There are going to be 4 mock-ups designed that have sort of different colors and different siding materials. The building committee will go and take these mock-ups and decide which ones they want to keep as, once to get feedback from the community, we'll actually be mounting 3 of them in Chatham on the middle school so that people can kind of see it on the middle school, and we'll take 3 over to Harwich Elementary School so that people can go and see those. Or so it could be 3, could be 2, depends on how many they approve. But the color schemes on them are in the gray and tan range. The committee is not looking to replace the building with cedar shake, but to look at more modern materials that are going to last for years to come. So, so the building at the moment is, painted white pine that is, that's showing its age, and that would get replaced with like an AZAC, the synthetic material that will last and last in the coastal environment. And then there are different products, there's the Chatham Police Station and the annex were done with a concrete board. So there'll be some concrete board examples. There's the dock trap in Chatham was done with something that looks like a painted shingle, but it's actually a concrete shingle product. So you'll see different iterations of that in sort of gray and tans. And then we are working up a little online thing that people will be able to go to see the mock-ups. Ideally go, sort of scan a little QR code, see what an elevation of the building would look like with that scheme, and then provide some feedback in terms of what type of materials, do people most favor what color scheme, and ultimately, that will be sort of taken into consideration from the building committee, but it's the building committee itself that needs to go and make that final decision. And ultimately that, what siding they choose may actually have the building project budget come down slightly, depending on if it's, if people say, hey, we like this product, if it's a slightly less expensive one.
Thank you. Any questions?
Madam Chair? Not a question, but I would also add, in terms of marketing, because I know that we've kind of talked about marketing the project, that there was a lot of conversation around getting some type of handout flyer, and they're in production, and finalization of what those look like, and maybe some type of rendition or image, and that we have a calendar identifying different schools with different events, and activities where we can highlight the project and educate and answer questions for those who might wanting to know, what is this infamous middle school project and what does it include and how does it affect me? So hopefully it will be welcomed by both communities, and we're always here for questions too, so if anyone has questions.
Thank you. Finance Subcommittee, don't know if there's any additional updates.
I think we've shared it all.
I think we're done. We'll move into the superintendent's report, recognition, donations, grants, and acknowledgements.
I apologize for some of the redundancies that were also in the student report, but tonight is opening night of Shrek Junior at the middle school, it was last night was opening night. You can catch the final performance of the show tomorrow night. More than 40 students from the high school visited the State House as part of the Women's Advocacy Day with the Massachusetts Commission on the Status of Women, and they met a number of local officials. The Empty Bowls Full Hearts fundraiser with high school last week was a big success and featured performances by both middle school and high school chorus. The pottery created by the high school students and the placemats designed by elementary students. The event raised funds for the Family Table Collaborative. Artwork by students from across the district will be on display as part of the Through Young Eyes exhibit at the Cape Cod Museum of Art through May 18th, with an opening reception on Saturday. The Cape Media Center invited some of our fourth grade students to learn or to come to and record poems that they had written. Got that right? Those poems were on display. Will be on display for businesses and organizations around the community, and you can go to our website to see the video that the Cape Media Center created. That's it.
Awesome, thank you. Moving into the last of our action items, we need to do a vote for the November 2025 Visual Arts Department New York City trip. Does anyone have any questions? I don't know if there's anybody here about the trip, but on that, can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the November 2025 Visual Arts Department New York City trip as presented in our packet.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? And that passes. And then we have the second reading of the Monomoy Regional School District calendar. Do we have any questions on this? Everyone's committed it to memory, excited.
Oh,
No worries.
Sorry, Robin Millen, Assistant Superintendent. I just want to clarify, we didn't change the dates, we didn't change any of the breaks or any of the half-days or anything like that, but we did work with Roberta to clarify some of the questions you had about those school days or school breaks, so she did put some edits in there on the final copies.
much more specific now.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Simmons.
Do we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the Monomoy Regional School District 2025-2026 calendar as presented in our packets.
A second?
Second it?
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay, it passes. We've had the presentation of the warrants. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We will adjourn at 7:49.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.